And for now, let's take a quick look at the developments taking place at this hour. Well, Iran has launched a fresh salvo at Israel. Sirens blared across Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. The visuals are the latest ones as Iranian missiles were intercepted. Israeli media has reported missile fragments impact, but there are no major injuries recorded so far. Local media in Dubai is also reporting sounds of blasts. According to reports, the sounds heard across Dubai are of interceptions of Iranian missiles by countries' air defenses. There are no reports of impacts as of now. The latest interceptors also come after UAE had decided to close its embassy in Iran and had even recalled its diplomat from Tehran.
Thank you, security forces.
In another development, US Central Command has released fresh footage of fresh attacks on Iran. The footage that has surfaced shows US destroyers launching guided missiles. It shows missiles making impact on an undisclosed location. The post on social media platform X also claims that IRGC no longer has a headquarters. So that's another statement coming in from CENTCOM saying that IRGC headquarters has also been targeted. And joining us on the broadcast is Berzin Wagmer. He's affiliated to Center for Iranian Studies at University of London. Appreciate you joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Wagmer, President Trump in his latest statements has said that this war could even go on for 4 weeks. Your assessment of the statement coming in from President Trump on the timeline and the wider conflict now at play?
President Trump is absolutely right to state that. He is taking a realistic, hard-nosed assessment of the situation. For so long, people have criticized him, thinking he was just going to go in with some cosmetic strikes and walk out because his attention time span is limited and he would move on to another topic. Far from it, he is committed and is going to carry this job out thoroughly. And what did he also mean by that is that the Iranian regime, or what's remaining of it, still is a hydra-headed organization that can be nasty and dangerous for all concerned, not least Iranians who it murders without total impunity, but also its neighbors who are feeling the full wrath of an embattled, beleaguered regime. So you have to continue the job by taking out the Basij armories, the IRGC command and control centers, the remaining oligarchs, security apparatus honchos at the regional and the local district level, provincially across all 31 provinces of Iran, not just the Tehran metropolitan region. Because we have to factor this aspect into 400 kilos of enriched uranium to weapons grade quality is very much still intact and there. What if some elements of the IRGC as Shia fanatics, extremists, want to go and mount it on a nuclear warhead and leave it out as a ballistic missile for an attack on Israel or anyone else in the region? There is nothing to discount that possibility. It is not an extreme option or extreme thinking on our parts. It is perfectly logical and coherent with what is the thinking going on in certain quarters of the Revolutionary Guards, who wouldn't think twice about such an course of action. We do know, for instance, yesterday morning when the first attacks took place just after 9 in the morning Tehran local time, that one of the sites struck besides Khamenei's residence was the Parchin missile complex southeast of Tehran, a suburb of metropolitan Tehran, where research work has been ongoing for testing out mounting nuclear warheads on conventional missiles and drones. So this is not completely, out of the blue thinking on our part. We know that this is all part of their security apparatus playbook, and that this needs to be done because also President Trump realizes he owes this to the Iranian street. Having told them that this is a golden once-in-a-lifetime opportunity after 47 years to unshackle and unburden themselves from this dictatorship, he is following through with his part also. So obviously, he is absolutely right in saying that this will be not just a one-off strike of 24 to 48 hours, but will go into weeks, because you have an entrenched system after half a century, a powerful security state since 1979, deeply entrenched, and taking it out is no mean feat or a task that can be done within 24 to 48 hours, despite how sophisticated your weaponry can be.
Yes, Mr. Wagner, now France, Germany and UK have said that they are ready to take defensive action against Iran. They've said that they are ready to defend their interests and those of its allies in the Gulf if necessary by taking defensive action against Iran. The three countries' leaders have said that they are appalled by the indiscriminate and disproportionate missile attacks being launched by Iran. How do you view the three countries coming together and saying that they are willing to work and take those defensive actions against Iran?
And quite rightly so. For too long, members of the EU have been effete and silent about Iran, treading on eggshells, not to antagonize the regime. Well, partly not to antagonize the regime, and also because they felt that any comments made by them would discredit the genuine Iranian protests on the street, because it would be capitalized by the regime, which wants to make out that these are just nefarious elements, subversives being egged on from abroad by, say, Paris, London, Berlin, or elsewhere, which is why they maintained a studied silence. But things have gone beyond whatever one expected. And of course, you must remember that the European Union members are utterly disgusted with Tehran, although again they have kept their counsel. By that I mean, what was the last straw to break their back was Tehran's support to Russia and Putin during the Ukraine war with these Shahed 136 drones that are killing indiscriminately Ukrainians, which is why we've had sanctions imposed on Tehran even before this spate of riots that started in December, going back into last year and before that. Iran Air doesn't fly anymore anywhere in Europe, as you do know, because it's sanctioned, to give one salient example. So Ukraine was the last straw which broke the proverbial European back, thinking that they could have some response or some leeway with the regime over the years, and that it could be maintained, some communication could be maintained, or to have the regime modify its worldview and its foreign policy stance, which clearly was not the case. And back then, when those of us who said so, we were dismissed as neocons and conservatives. But the Europeans, including the mainstream liberals and left and centrists, have now come to realize that there is no compromising with such a dangerous, deadly regime, which is all out to destroy anyone and everyone. And it has its annihilation policies in place.
Yes, Mr. Wagner, stay with us. We have a statement also coming in from the Foreign Minister of Israel, who says that the Iranian regime is savagely attacking the civilian population in Israel, just as it's attacking the neighbors, the Arab states. This is yet another demonstration of why such an extremist regime cannot be allowed to amass enormous amounts of ballistic missiles with ranges reaching even to Europe, and whose armies it has labeled as terror organizations. This regime is dangerous to its own people, to the entire region and to the whole world. Now, Netanyahu has also minced the words in saying that they will continue attacking Iran and the heart of Tehran, that is. What do you think is the end goal of Israel at this point, given that they have, given that the Iranian supreme leader is already killed? What is the goalpost of the Israeli forces at this point?
Exterminating Khamenei as a Rahbar, the supreme leader, is not good enough, and the job is still left incomplete, because obviously the supreme leader has percolated power down to several layers. So Iran functions as a deep state, a securitized military oligarchy, and which is what it has and will become in the next few days and weeks, as we see, as Revolutionary Guards are front, right and center taking stage. Yes, the traditional clerics, the mullahs, will always be around, but they will be taking a back seat as the IRGC comes into play. And by that, I can do no better than afford this analogy, like the Pakistan ISI, which is considered a state within a state. So it is going to be another Pakistan in one semblance of a sense, a securitized, ideologically driven state. So that is what will happen. So that is to be factored in, and clearly Jerusalem has factored that aspect in, which is why regime change is imperative. It is imperative because this dispensation for 47 years has created havoc not just for Israel, but for everyone across the Arab world, not just the GCC immediate neighborhood, which is feeling the full brunt of these attacks, and to which the Iranian regime in rhetorical terms was always committed to dismantling. It had its eyes set since 1979 on Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, UAE, and others. But also the larger Arab world as such, which has felt Iran has been a destabilizing influence. Another salient example, Lebanon is not a normal society, and it simply cannot function as a noble state, being held hostage to the whims of Hezbollah. And Hezbollah is in place, entrenched in the Lebanese system, because it is funded and armed to the teeth by Iran. And again, it's not that the Hezbollah is out there as a natural Shia front supporting Lebanese Shia against, say, Israel or the IDF. Far from it. It is the Lebanese Hezbollah is there, which is creating havoc with Sunnis and Arab Christians within Lebanon and unraveling the social fabric of that country, and has been doing so since 1983. So everyone has a stake. I repeat, everyone has a stake in seeing this dispensation, this regime go, because everyone of the Middle East 500 millions can finally breathe a sigh of relief if it happens, and a semblance of normalcy will come to the region. Make no mistake. So removing Iran's IRGC leadership and regime changes may not be the entire panacea for all of the Middle East's wars, but at least 50% of the Middle East problems to 75% would be sorted out if this regime caves in and goes. That cannot be denied.
All right, Mr. Wagner, point taken, and important statement also coming in from Trump at this point, who says that this military operation could last well beyond, in fact, could last up to 4 weeks. For now, we leave the discussion here. We have some breaking inputs that are just trickling in.